So good morning. So in the previous class, we have discussed about the arrays declaration as well as arrays initialization. So let us revisit. So what is the syntax of array? Array declaration. Int, student, square braces, semicolon. This is the syntax for declaration of an array. So this square braces will be after the identifier or else before the identifier. How do you initialize an array? Is equal to within the braces 22, 33, 44, 52. Semicolon. So this is the initialization of an array. Or you can, there is another method to initialize an array. That is int student identifier name is equal to new and data type int size of the array and then values 22 comma 33 comma 44 comma 54. So this is the basic syntax for declaring an array as well as initialization of an array. Then how do you display array? Using any for loop, you can display the array. You can use the for each loop. Displaying an array. Generally, we will use an for each loop. Z student system.out.println plus Z. So this is the basic syntax for displaying an array. We are using the for loop here, for each loop. So this is the basic syntax. In the previous class, we have discussed all these things. And next one. So this is the syntax. So storage, how the elements are stored in the computer memory. That is also explained. So for primitive data types, what is the default value? Primitive data type after declaring an any array, what is the default value? Before initialization, what is the default value? After this statement, we are using the new operator here. That means it will allocate some memory space in the memory. So what are the default values for that memory? What is the default value? The default value is 0. For the primitive data types, it's 0. For non-primitive data types, it is null. Either class name or interface name, then it will be null. So after initialization 20, 10, 30, 50, after initialization, these values will be occupied in the memory. So before that, initially all values are occupied with the 0. After initialization, those values zeros are occupied by 20, 10, 30, 50. So this is the storage representation. 1 minute. So this is the storage of array in computer memory. Then we have seen the accessing of elements of an array. So we can access the array elements by using the index values. index values are represented with array index starts with the 0, a of 0, a of 1, a of 2. So we can access the first element by using the a of 0. We can access the second element by using the a of 1. So likewise, we can access the any element in the array. Then we have seen the array size. So for doing any operations on array, we need an array size. So for calculating the array size, we have the default method called length. The method name is length. The method name is length. So by using that length method, we can print the size of an array. So this is the syntax for accessing the length. So next one, usage of for each loop in arrays. So generally for arrays, for displaying, we can use the for each loop. So this is the syntax for accessing the for each loop. For displaying an array elements, we can use the simple for each loop or nested for each loop. For two-dimensional array, we can use the nested for each loop. For single dimensional array, we can use the single for each loop. Then we have seen the simple program on arrays and accessing the array elements. So here see, array name is numbers. Array index value is 0, 1, 2, 3. So we are going to insert the 4 elements. So this is the accessing of array elements. We can access the array elements by using the index values, numbers of 0, array name, square braces of index number. So this is the simple examples of array. So here array is declared, two arrays are declared. One array is initialized 1, 2, 3, 4. Second array numbers are just declared. Initialization is not done. That means values are not entered into that array. So values are entered through the index numbers. Next one, usage of for each loop. So he has declared two arrays and initialized the two arrays, and he is creating the another array. He is declaring the another array. He is inserting the values into the array. He is inserting the values into array, and he is displaying the values. He is displaying the all the arrays, numbers, nums, and p. 1 minute. Hello. So here three arrays are taken, numbers, nums, and p. So three arrays are displaying by using the for each loop. So simply we can use the for each loop instead of for loop. So He is displaying the numbers here. He is displaying the nums array and he is displaying the p array. So we can display the arrays by using the for each loop. We can declare either of the two ways, this way or this way. So next one. So this is also a simple example for array. So he is declared two arrays, array 1 and array 2. Then array 1 is initialized by using each element is multiplied with k value. Initially k value is 0 and it is repeated up to 5 times. So each element is multiplied by 2. Array 2 is initialized as 3 into k. Each element is multiplied with 3 and displayed. So he is calling the display method array 1 and array 2, and he is writing the code for method display. So he's passing the parameter as an array. Generally we'll pass the parameters or arguments as variables. So he's passing the parameter as array. So then he's displaying the displaying the array by using the for loop, not for loop, for each loop. So he's declaring the output as x of array. Then he's displaying the x value. So by calling the display array 1 will be displayed. By calling the display array 2 will be displayed here. So next, array of strings. So in Java we have only character data type. So strings is an class, predefined class in Java. So this is an non-primitive data type. We can treat it as non-primitive data type. That means it is a class name. String is a class name here. So in the util package we have the class called string. So we can use the class names as data types. So those data types are called as non-primitive data types. So string can be treated as non-primitive data type. We can declare the arrays of type string. We are declaring the two arrays of type string. So array 1 is initialized with some values: Kamal, Lal, John, Maya, Sunita. So 5 strings are initialized to the array 1. So then we are assigning the array 1 values to the array 2. That means we are copying the array 1 elements to the array 2. So simply we can use the assignment operator. Then we are displaying the array 1 as well as we are displaying the array 2. So for displaying any array, we can use the for each loop. So next one, operations on array elements. So suppose if you have any array of elements 10, 20, 30, 40, you can perform some arithmetic operations as well as some logical operations on the array. So basically we can apply the arithmetic operations on array. That means plus, minus, into, division, as well as multiplication, modulo. Likewise we can do some operations on array. So let us see some operations regarding the arrays. So this is the basic syntax for initialization of any array. Int, square braces, array name, new operator, data type, square braces, size of an array, and then values. So this is the basic syntax for initialization of an array. So next one, let us check this program. So here he has taken class name as array operation. So array operation is a class, main class. So he public static void main, he has declared the main method here. Then he is declaring the two arrays, array 1, array 2. He is declaring the two arrays. So array 1 is initialized. Array 1 is initialized to the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 values are initialized to array 1. So but array 2 is just declared. Initialization is not done. So array 2 is equal to new space int of 5. So we have given the size, but we have not initialized the values. So array 2 is not initialized. Array 1 is initialized the values. So array 2 is initialized with the for int k is equal to 0, k less than 5, k plus plus. So we are giving the values, we are inserting the values into the array 2. So that is 2 into k. That means each k value is multiplied with 2. If it is 0, 2 into 0, 0. If it is 1, 2 into 1, 1. It is 2, 2 into 2, 4. Likewise, array 2 is filled. So system.out.println is displaying the array 1. Here initializations are done. Array 1 is initialized. Here array 2 is initialized. Assigned some values. So here displaying the array 1. Next here displaying the array 2. So next he is doing some operations. Assignment operators. Arithmetic assignment operators. That means array 1 is equal to array 1 plus 3. That means we are adding the first array. We are adding the plus 3 to the elements of array 1. That means, so initially array 1 elements are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are adding the 3 to the each of the element. That means 3 plus 1, 4. 4 comma 3 plus 2, 5. 5 comma 3 plus 3, 6. 4 plus 3, 5, 6, 7. 5 plus 3, 8. So these are the values after performing this addition operation. After performing this addition operation, this line array 1 of j plus is equal to 3. That means array 1 of j is equal to array 1 j plus 3. That means we are adding the plus 3 to each of the elements. That means we are performing addition operation on array. Then he is taken array 2 and multiplying with 2. So array 2 values are 2 into k. Array 2 is initialized with 2 into k. That means initially array 2 values are 0, 2 into 1, 2, 2 into 2, 4, 2 into 3, 6, 2 into 4, 8. So initially array 2 is initialized to 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Then is performing some multiplication operation. That means multiplied by 2. So each of the array 2 element is multiplied by 2. That means 0 into 2, 0. 4. 4 into 2, 8. 6 into 2, 12. 8 into 2, 16. He is performing multiplication operation. So after multiplying the array 2 with 2, this is the output. Then he is displaying the array 1, he is displaying the array 2. So for displaying, he's invoking the display method. He's passing the array as one argument, and he is using the for each loop to display the array elements. So this is the basic simple program to perform some arithmetic operations on array. So next one, arrays as parameters of methods. That means this one. So display is a method. We are passing the parameter as an array. We are passing the parameter as an array. That means generally we will use int a comma int b comma int c. We will pass the values like this. So if you want to pass the array, that is possible in Java. Public static void display. So within the braces, within the parameters, we can pass the array. Same data type, identifier name, and array size, square braces. So let us see one program. So he's array in method. Array in method. So the class name is array in method. So this is the main class. He is declaring the two arrays, array 1 and array 2. So array 1 is declared with new operator and initializing the values and assigning the values as 2 plus 2 into k. That means he is multiplying the each value with 2 and then adding the again 2 plus 2 into k. Then he is displaying the array 1. Then he is calling the another method compute and display. So he is calling the two methods, display method and compute and display method. So let us see the method display. So we are passing the array as an argument. We are passing the array as an argument for method display. So by using for each loop, the array is displayed here. Then he's calling the another method compute and display. Let us check the code for compute and display. So here also is passing the parameter as an array. So he's calculating the some computation. He's calculating the some computation, that is square root of x, square root of each value of the array. Suppose array values are 10, 20, 30, 40. So we are calculating the square of that number. So in Java, we have some mathematical functions. So class name is math, function name is, that means method name is sqrt. Is calculating the square of the each element of the number, and he is displaying the result y. So this is the simple program to illustrate the passing the array as parameters. We are passing the array here in these two methods, display and compute display. We are passing the array, not a variable. We are passing the array. Okay na? So next one, assigning array to another array. That means, so we have two arrays, array 1 and array 2. So we are assigning the array 2 values to the array 1. So how can you declare that? Array 1 is equal to array 2. Simple. Array 2 is equal to array 1. That means we are assigning the array 1 values to the array 1. So that is assigning the array to another array. We can assign the values of an array to the any other array. So here he's initialized the array 1. He's declared the array 1. He's declared the array 2. He's initializing the array 1 with 2 into k. He's initializing the array with 2 into k. That means each value is multiplied by 2. Then he is again assigning the array 2 values. So array 2 values are same as array 1 values. That means the elements of array 1 are copied to the array 2. That is, we are assigning the array 2 values as same as array 1. So that is assigning array to another array. Next one. So next one, sorting of arrays. So for each and every application, there exists there is a need of sorting and searching mechanisms. So in the data structures, we have studied these algorithms, sorting algorithms as well as searching algorithms. So in this chapter, we are going to revisit that sorting algorithms and searching algorithms also. So that means sorting of arrays. So we have an array 10, 20, 32, 18, 12, 14, 38, 98. So we are going to sort that array by using so many sorting algorithms. So the main sorting algorithms are, the basic sorting algorithm is bubble sort. Next one, selection sort. Next, insertion sort. Next, quick sort. We have so many sorting techniques. Merge sort also is there. So we'll see the first three sorting techniques. So For quicksort, we have the method. So in Java, to perform the quicksort, we have predefined method. In the util package, we have a method. We can easily call that method. We don't need to define that method. So we have a predefined method for performing the quicksort. So let us see the three sorting techniques: bubble sort, selection sort, and then insertion sort. So after that, we will see the searching techniques. We have two searching techniques. First one is linear search. Second one is binary search. So we'll see one by one. First one, bubble sort. So let us see the bubble sort first. So let us take an array 12, 5, 8, 2, 9, 6, 1, 7, 3. So this is an array. So let us perform bubble sort. That means we can rearrange the array elements as either ascending order or descending order. Generally, we will perform ascending order. So ascending order means the first element is the smallest element, the last element is the highest element. So let us perform bubble sort step by step. 5, 8, 2, 9, 6, 1, 7, 3. So this is the given array. So the first step is, so compare the first two elements. First step is step 1. First step is compare the first two elements. So first two elements are 5 and 8. So compare the first two elements, 5 and 8. So 5 is less than 8. Check the condition. 5 is less than 8. 5 is less than 8. That means it is true. 5 is less than 8. It is true. That means we don't change the order. 5 less than 8. That means we don't change the order. That is 5, 8, 5, 8, 2, 9, 6, 1, 7, 3. We don't change the order. Step 2. So next step is check the next two elements, that is 8 less than 2. Check the next two elements, 8 less than 2. The condition is true or false? The condition is false. So the condition is false. That means we have to rearrange the element. We have to interchange the elements. We have to interchange the elements. That is 5, 2 and 8 are interchanged. 2, 8, remaining elements are as it is 9, 6, 1, 7. So this is the second step. Next step, step 3. Step 3. So compare the next two elements, that is 8 and 9. 8 is less than 9. So 8 is less than 9. That means the condition is true. So if the condition is true, there is no interchange. No interchange. No interchange. Then the elements are displayed as it is. No change in this step. 8, 9, 6, 1, 7, 3. So no change in the step. Next, step 4. Step 4. So compare the next two elements. So next two elements are 9 and 6. 9 less than 6. Check the condition whether it is true or false. 9 less than 6. So it is definitely false. That means no change. That means no change. That means 5. So 9 less than 6. Does the condition is true or false? ఉన్నారా ఎవరైనా? $25. Roll number 25. A6. So this condition is false. So we have to interchange 5, 2, 8, 6, 9, 1, 7, 3. So next step, we have to compare the 9 and 1. So 9 less than 1. The condition is false. So we have to interchange the elements 5, 2, 8, 6, 1, 9, 7, 3. Next we have to compare the 9 and 7. So 9 less than 7. So condition is false. So we have to interchange the values 5, 2, 8, 6, 1, 7, 9, 3. Then we have to compare the last two elements 9 and 3. 9 less than 3. So condition is false. So we have to interchange the two elements 5, 2, 8, 6, 1, 7, 9, 3, 9. So this is the end of the element. This is the end of the element. So this is the round 1 or iteration 1. So up to now, first iteration is completed. Then, so what is the, this is not a final output. So still the array is not sorted. Still the array is not sorted. So we have to repeat the above steps until the array is sorted. So to sort this array, we need n-1 comparisons. We need n-1 comparisons. That means we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements. 8 minus 1, 7 comparisons. We need 7 comparisons. So likewise, we can perform the bubble sort. So this is not an effective method to sort the arrays. So if the array elements are limited to very small size, then we can use the bubble sort. So this is the one sorting technique. So next one is selection sort. So next one is selection sort. So let us take an array 9, 7, 4, 3, 6, 8. So let us take an array of elements 9, 7, 4, 3, 8. So we have to sort the array in an ascending order. So in an ascending order. So let us perform the sorting. So first step is identify the smallest element. In the selection sort, we have to select the we have to select the least element. That means among the array, we have to identify the smallest number. So here the smallest number is 3. Here the smallest number is 3. Then in the next step, we have identified that the smallest number is 3. So that number is placed at the starting of the array. First element, we have to interchange that element as first element 9, 3, 9, 7, 4, 6, 8. So the smallest element is placed first. So that is the ascending order. In the selection sort, we have to identify the smallest element. So in the next iteration, identify the smallest element. So in this array, the smallest element is 4. After 3, next smallest element is 4. Next smallest element is 4. Then replace the 4 in the second place. First element is 3. Second element is 4. 9, 7, 6, 8. So this is the next step. So these two elements are already sorted. These two elements are already sorted. Then we have to check the remaining elements. We have to check the remaining elements 9, 7, 6, 8. 9, 7, 6, 8. So next step, identify the smallest element in the remaining array 9, 7, 6, 8. So in the 9, 7, 6, 8, the smallest element is 6. The smallest element is 6. So then interchange the value, change the position of x, position of smallest number, that is 6. 3, 4, 6, 9, 7, 8. That means first three elements are sorted. So the remaining array is 9, 7. The remaining array is 9, 7, 8. So in this array, we have to identify the smallest number. So the smallest number is 7. The smallest number is 7. So we have to place the 7 as first number. 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 7, 9, 8. So first 4 elements are sorted. First 4 elements are sorted. So the remaining array is 9 and 8. So identify the smallest element in the 9 and 8. So 8 is the smallest element. So we have to change the position of the smallest element, that is 8. So in the next step, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So first 5 elements are sorted. So we have the remaining array 9. So we have only single element. So that is the smallest number. So in the next step, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that is the end of the array. So the array is sorted. So the array is sorted. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. So this is the selection sort. So while compared to the bubble sort, selection sort efficiency is somewhat better. Okay, na? So this is the selection sort. So the idea behind here is we have to identify the smallest number. So then we have to place the smallest number as starting element, array starting elements. We will divide the array as sorted array and unsorted array. So in the unsorted array, we have to identify the smallest element and we will place in the sorted array. So this is the selection sort. Next one, insertion sort. Next one, insertion sort. So this is also one of the efficient sorting technique. So let us take the example. Same example, 9, 7, 4, 3, 6, 8. So in the insertion sort, so first 2 elements are compared. Their first 2 elements are 9 and 7. Their first 2 elements are 9 and 7. So 9 is compared with the 7. 7 is compared with the 9. So 7 is the small number. So then we have to interchange the numbers. 7, 9, 7, 9, 4, 3, 6, 8. So this is the first step. In the first step, we have to select the second element. See, here the second element is 7. Here the second element is 7. So 7 is compared with the first element, that is 9. 7 less than 9. 7 less than 9. That means we have to change the first position as 7. Next, we have to take the third element. So here third element is 4. Here third element is 4. We have to select one element. So in the first step, we will take the second element. In the second step, we will take the third element. So compare this element with the left side part, left side array. So left side array is this one, 7 and 9. So 4 is compared with 7 as well as 9. So 4 is compared with 7 and 9. 4 is compared with 7 and 9. So 4 is less than 7, less than 9. That means we have to place the 4 as starting element. 4, 7, 9, 3, 6, 8. So then we have to select the fourth element. Then we have to take the fourth element. So now compare the fourth element with all all the left side element 4, 7, 9. The left side elements are 4, 7, 9. So 3 is compared with the 4, 7 as well as 9. So 3 is less than 4, less than 7, less than 9. That means we have to place the 3 in the starting element, starting position. 3, 4, 7, 9, 6, 8. So next we have to pick the fourth element. So the fourth element is 6. So now 6 is compared with the left side of the elements. So left side of elements are 3, 4, 7, 9. So 6 is greater than 3, greater than 4, but less than 7, less than 9. That means we have to insert the 6 in between 4 and 7. We have to insert the 6 in between the 4 and 7. That means 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 8. Next, we have to select the last element. We have to select the last element, 8. So this 8 is compared with the left side of the elements. This 8 is compared with the all the left side of the elements. So 8 is greater than 3, okay, greater than 4, okay, greater than 6, greater than 7, okay, but less than 9, but less than 9. So then we have to insert the 8 before the 9. That is 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9. So this is the final array. We come to the end of the loop. Let us check whether the array is sorted or not. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. So the array is sorted. So this is the sorted array. So this is the insertion sort. So we have seen the 3 types of sorting techniques. First one, bubble sort. Second one, selection sort. Third one, insertion sort. So in the selection sort, we have identified the smallest element and placed in the starting position. In the insertion sort, we have taken the second element and compared with the left array, third element and compared with the left array. Next, likewise, we have repeated the loop. Finally, we got the sorted array. అర్థమైందా? అర్థమైందా? So these are the mainly used sorting techniques in the real world applications. So there is a quick sort. So quick sort, we will take the pivot element and perform the comparisons. So there is a predefined method in Java. In the util package, we have the predefined method quick sort. Then there is no need to implement, there is no need to write the definition of the quick sort here. So predefinedly, we have quick sort method. So this is the procedure to perform the sorting techniques. So in the tomorrow's class, write the Java programs for all these programs: bubble sort, insertion sort, and selection sort. So submit and explain the programs in the next class. So explain these programs in the next class. So each student has to write the program and explain. I will call the number and those student has to explain the program. So tomorrow's class is only explaining. The student has to explain the bubble sort logic, selection sort logic, and insertion sort logic. Randomly, I will choose the numbers. So all of you try to write the Java programs for all these things. So this is all about sorting. So in the 5th hour, we will discuss these searching techniques. Thank you.